Welcome back to a family business podcast. Today, we are diving into major mortgage trends, making headlines, 50-year mortgages and assumable mortgages.
What about the portable ones?
How exciting. And let's talk about portable ones too.
Every time I hear that, don't you think about like portable toilets?
Oh, jeez.
I can pick it up, put it in my pocket, and take it out.
The concept
credit card
might not be
But think
too
about
far
it though.
off of
The
that.
reason why I think about it, right? That's what I'm saying. Like it's like a portable toilet. Like it has a new home. It moves around all the time.
That's what they're hoping.
That's what they're hoping. Yeah. So let's kind of go around the table here and talk about, let's start with 50-year mortgages. Good idea or bad idea? We'll start with PT.
I think I would rather do something much worse financially than that. I just don't ever. It just doesn't make sense, right? We look at the average year that somebody lives in a property, and if that's the case, and you do get potentially a 50-year mortgage, really that time is just going to be spent paying down the interest. And what does that result back to? You're basically renting.
Yeah. So I'm just going to preface this whole entire thing by saying this, okay? I am for anything that helps someone to become a homeowner and makes housing more affordable. But that doesn't mean that the way
anything, just not everything, right?
I am for anything that makes people able to be homeowners and housing more affordable. That being said, the math has to math.
Caveat.
Okay. Math has to math. So maybe there's a way to do a 50-year mortgage, just not the way it's being presented, because I'm with you, PT. Like, I mean, I think that this is where I think that 50-year mortgages could make sense. Okay. Maybe. Okay. So when Brad and I bought our first home together, we also owned two other homes, and we were starting our own business. So we didn't have salary and all that good things. Right. So we did an interest only loan it was a 7-year was what the note was, but we only had it for
Just
what, 2 years or yeah. And we had it just because of the way that the market had crashed. And so you had to have certain income requirements and history of your business in order to qualify for another mortgage. Plus we each owned a property that we didn't want to sell. So we were kind of unique in that, but we also had a mortgage lender that we trusted, and he advised us, hey, let's just do this for like a year or two. Then you'll have history, and then we can convert you into a conventional mortgage, which is what we did. So I think maybe in a situation like that, maybe it would make sense. But the problem is that the payment's just not that different. I mean, it's like $100, $150. So how's that really going to
change? Depending on the price of the house. It's not a huge, that's not a huge
I mean, I just don't understand why is it even, why?
Well,
why?
Lower payments, right?
But if it's $100,
isn't that much, but two is some. I mean, that's a lot of money. Ease your qualification, like you just mentioned. That's a great point. But that being said, on the flip side, what's going to happen to home prices? I mean, if you have all these people jump into the market on these 50-year mortgages, the prices will go up again a lot.
Pete, you just think about this. You're 26 years old. So you get a 50-year mortgage. You're 76 years old.
That's what I'm like sitting here in my perspective. I'm sitting
Your
here.
Papa's age.
I'm like, who in their right mind is going to be able to predict that they're going to be potentially in there, even for half of that, right? I mean, someone might be able to say, okay, this is going to be my forever home. Well, life happens, right?
And Brad, I'm going to challenge you on you saying, well, it's cheaper. I'm sorry, but if it's $100 is what helps you qualify, I don't think you should. I think there's a lot of things you probably shouldn't be doing if $100 is going to make or break you.
No, I'm just saying what the experts that are pushing this, what they really think. And I disagree. I'm 100% with you that, as you know, in most loans, you have to pay the interest, most of that right up front. So you're almost better off renting, that you're not going to start getting into the principal of that loan for a long time.
Well, and when I hear it's easier to get qualified for this, that raises red flags too. Yeah. What walls are we breaking down to get people qualified now at this point? I mean, in my perspective, I feel that the majority of people, depending on different things, obviously, if you don't have an income or your credit score is at a certain point, right, that's an issue. But for the majority, people are having success getting qualified. Oh, yeah. And there's so many different avenues and ways that these lenders are becoming more and more unique, right, to where we stand today. So when I hear it's easier to get qualified, that raises a red flag.
Well, and just on that, I guess, I mean, so would it make sense? And I don't know, this is just where I'm tossing around. So like, let's say that, the interest rates were 3%. Then does a 50-year mortgage make sense? Well, sure. I mean, I kind of feel like, right? Because you could buy a lot more home.
You can, but the biggest issue, the con there is, once again, you're not going to be paying down your principal very quickly at all. So you're not going to gain a lot of equity. Right. Whereas if you have a 30-year loan, you're like going to get to that actual principal a lot quicker. And if the market goes down, you're really in trouble.
Right.
Yeah. For sure. I agree.
It kind of goes back to, because the average person now, I just heard, moves every 12 years. It used to be every
10.
7 years.
But yeah. But that's still, that number
you're not going to be paying
30.
Exactly. And most people, they're going to be moving out well before they get into their principal. So if the market drops, it's almost like a nursing home.
Can you imagine the conversations that, okay, say this does happen and it's utilized, even for a little bit. Can you imagine the conversations when someone says, oh, I've just got job reload, or I have to do this? We're struggling now with people buying houses and they have to sell within 2 years. Some of these people are screwed.
Oh, yeah.
One, either they didn't have well representation buying and they didn't make the best decisions, or they simply just didn't get to the things that they said that they were going to do to improve a property to get it to where it needed to be to get themselves out of a hole, essentially.
Well, yeah. And I think it goes back to what I was saying before, too. Like, I mean, I remember when, our lender back then brought up the interest-only loan. And I remember both of us were just like, ooh, that sounds horrible. And we've always heard horrible things. But on the flip side of that, again, we trusted him 100%. And we had 2 other properties that we had equity in and owned. So it's kind of like one of those things where if we got ourselves in a situation, but really, and it wasn't because we couldn't, I mean, I guess technically we couldn't afford the property, but it really wasn't that. It was just lending laws had changed because the market had crashed. And there was just so much red tape that you had to jump through that it was just the solution. But this is just, I don't know. I mean, I still am going back to PT, like you being like just think about it. If you were someone that wanted to pay your mortgage off and you bought a house now, and then it would be paid off when it was time to move into the nursing home, PT.
Well, and if you think people like kind of freak out at the closing table when they look at the amount of interest they pay over the loan on a 50, can you even imagine
when they get the amortization scale and they're like, and it's 76 pages, it's like, holy moly.
Like, what do you think you would be paying? I mean, I honestly, we should have someone run a number. I want to know, like on a $400,000 house, if you're doing a 50-year loan and it's a 6% interest rate, I want to know what you pay for that house over the 50 years.
And not only over the 50 years, but in that first 10 years. Like, what would you pay when you're most likely going to move?
I mean, we just did the math the other day on the windows, right? Yeah. What was the total for the windows? Were like $51,000 if you paid them off in 84 months.
Yeah. No, it's insane that these people.
Let's do that. We're going to give you guys a scenario. We'll do that when we do our end of the year, what we predicted at the beginning. Let's make sure we have a scenario for like a $400,000 house from a local lender. I want to know exactly what you'd pay if you took the loan to the 50 years.
By the way, I can't wait to cross check you guys on all of your predictions.
Yeah, well, I win most of them. So.
This last year. Wrong.
Okay, moving on.
I'm not on 50.
All right, let's go to the next one, which I didn't even have on my list, but portable mortgages.
Potable.
So what that means is that you can take your mortgage that you have with you to your next home. Now, what bank and what lender and the government, how does that work numbers wise? Like, why would a bank allow you to take a portion of your new mortgage with you at 2.75% when they don't have to do that? Say that you buy $100,000 house. I like working in round numbers. Okay. And you have 80 grand left on your old loan. What they are saying is if you go to a $200,000 house and you don't put anything down, which of course you would, your mortgage on that house would be 120, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Wait.
180.
180.
80. No, 280.
Wait, what?
You're not putting anything down.
Wait, it's $100,000 house and you're bringing your
No. It's $100,000 house and you have already paid off $20,000.
Yes, so you have $20,000
in equity. You move to a $200,000 house, and like I'm just using round numbers. Obviously, you'll have expenses when you close on your loan. $80,000 of this new loan would be at your old interest rate. Okay,
right.
the other 120s at the new interest rate. So that's where they're really talking that this could be a big benefit. But why would a bank and why would the government, when we're already in this much debt, why would we add more debt?
But what happens to what you owed on your last house? If you still owed $80,000 on it, who pays the other $80,000? It's almost like you don't get
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I did that math totally wrong.
I don't even understand how it would work. Like the math does not math for me because
this is why
we don't do portable loans.
Well, wouldn't it just become two separate payments at that point that you still have your previous?
I would think so. So you have,
and then you have your new one.
Yeah, because
but then there's no benefit. But that's not the way they're proposing it. They're proposing it in the sense of you basically can take that amount. So like this is the way I understand it. So let's say you owe $80,000 on the house. Okay. So that $80,000 is at 2.75 or whatever. Basically, it's like you're basically combining the two, right?
Yep.
So basically they're just giving you a loan for a larger. So let's say the house was 400,000. Well, they're going to give you a loan for 480,000.
Yep. That's
so
where
that
you're
you
going
can
with
pay off the other house.
I was doing the reverse
and then that makes it 2.75. Well, why would you want to do that? I don't understand.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, because these politicians that push this, they didn't sit down and discuss like we are right now. Now that if this conversation happened right there when they actually thought through it, they'd be in the same spot.
But they actually probably have a mortgage.
They calculated it the way I did.
Yeah, it's like
free money. I mean, if Brad's way, let's do it. I mean, I'm all for potable mortgages.
That
sounds like there's a lot that needs to be worked out.
Okay, so portable mortgages, let's just say that we're not in favor of those, correct?
It
wasn't on my list, so I had to add the portable.
If the math would math, then I would be for it, but the math doesn't seem to. I mean, I'm all for it if the government's just going to decide to basically forgive, that $80,000 on the other house. If you agree to buy a different house, sure, I'm for it.
And that's like as an investor, like why would you do that, right? I mean,
I don't think investors would be included in potable mortgages.
Just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And clearly, the government doesn't have the money laying around either to.
Brad, everyone can see your notes.
These things. Oh yeah, well, I mean, notes are good, right? I mean,
did you write the notes or did ChatGPT?
Well, I gave it the ideas.
It's your brain.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about assumable mortgages now, which actually back in the 80s, the early 80s, were very popular for FHA and VA. I don't think a lot of people understand how complicated they are, though.
Lots of time.
Yep.
And it's not as great as you really think the sticker price is. I think at the end of the day, let's just draw up the basic scenario. There's an assumable loan for 3%. What does that do to the property interest? Probably quite a bit where we're currently at, right? Yeah. So what happens in a multiple interest situation? The price gets driven up. And then you're stuck there too. And who does not consider assumable loans when we are determining value?
An appraiser.
The appraiser, right. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Well, and so, yes, exactly what PT just said. But the other flip side of that, and this is just crazy because we've actually just had this come up twice in the last 30 days in our market. One was a buyer that the seller was presenting it as that there was a assumable loan at a super low interest rate, but come to find out, and these were super well qualified buyers, like buying well under their means, even though they were looking in that like $1 million price range, they were buying well under their means. But come to find out, the seller couldn't, in doing the discussions, couldn't actually provide that passing along of that assumable loan that was being advertised. So that, I think, but the other thing is we just had a seller that brought it up to us. And the problem is that people don't realize just because you, PT, have stellar credit and you have a loan and your interest rate is 3% and you owe $500,000 on your, dream home here, that doesn't mean that Bobby, the buyer, has suitable credit for your lender to decide that they want to give them that same rate and offer them money.
Going there.
So how it's almost like false marketing, right? It's almost like you need to put the little caveat in is, hey, this may be an option for certain buyers who have
everything
X, Y.
falls into place absolutely perfectly, right? And I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, obviously with these assumable mortgages, lower rates, great, but it's the qualification that could become a major challenge with that, which I haven't done any, so I don't know exactly how they work, but I know it's a popular topic right now that a lot of agents, not a lot, some agents have been advertising that they just throw it out there like it's easy.
Well, and
it's not.
again, it just happened on ours, and we were told like literally 24 hours into the negotiation, oh, by the way, just found out that they can't actually transfer that. But I guess that's my thing is like as an agent, I just think it puts you in an awkward
Liability,
situation. Yeah,
100%. It goes back to all the marketing. Yeah, if you bring any type of buyer to the table and that loan doesn't, if the seller's not able to transfer that assumable loan or the buyer's not able to take on that loan, that's a huge problem.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, what happens if you have multiple offer situations? You take an offer and like you just said, PT, the price gets driven up because they think they're getting a loan at a 3% interest rate. And so there's multiple offers and it goes over list price. And then you get a week before closing. And now all of a sudden that buyer finds out that they can't assume that loan. I mean, it's just a disaster.
And it might not be just as like that, they lost their job, right? It could be a tick of a credit score, right? I mean, it's something that someone might not be able to really control at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, and I really think the reason why it's a hot topic is nationally, affordability for homes and everything. Let's just really face it, is very tough right now. So that they're throwing around ideas like these three things.
Well, again, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, I mean, I'm for any idea that helps more people become homeowners and helps the home prices become more affordable. It just, the math needs to math, right? And we haven't talked about this yet, but the whole announcement that was made about the removal of credit scores for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, both, is that right? How do we feel about that?
I don't feel very good about it. Your credit score is the best indication of what you're going to do in the future.
I was 9 during 2008, and it just sounds like a lot what stacked up with all the videos we watched in elementary school and all this stuff. It sounds a lot like what maybe was going on back then.
But so the way I understand it, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here. So the way I understand that, though, is that it's not necessarily about that. It's because of people who are it's a problem for like your generation, PT, where people, they're so scorned by people that had credit issues in those eras that they don't have credit cards. They don't have a credit history. So therefore, when it comes time to buy the home, even though they make good money, they're not able to qualify. And my understanding is that's really why that's coming about, is so that those people, if they meet X, Y, and Z, can still buy a home, even if they don't have a good credit score because they don't have credit.
Well, here's a solution idea. Why don't we just start to make this education, right? Yeah. We always talked about how the consumer is always massively undereducated, especially in real estate and financials. Why does it not become a part of education? How to budget, how to build credit, and why is that not being implemented? Because so many struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
No, and why probably not? I mean, let's just be real. It's like, we're not going to go down this rabbit hole, but it's like the same reason why some of the pharmaceutical companies do some of the things they do, because then it takes the money out of their pocketbook. So when you talk about like some of these, companies that sponsor some of these things, whether it's in college or high school and some of these programs that would teach some of these things, it's not beneficial to them if you have a credit card and you never pay any interest on it. Right. If you pay it off every month, how does it benefit them? So, which that's sad, but yes, it is an educate. I mean, it should be something people learn how to do, because it is something most people, especially our era, especially me, the old lady at the table. I mean, I learned by the school of hard knocks. I mean, I took out credit cards and then rang them up. And luckily I was lucky enough to have grandparents that gave me a cheaper loan than my credit card to help me pay that off, but they made me pay it back to them, but I mean, lessons learned, right? I mean,
yeah. And when it goes back to the credit card companies, their favorite two people are the ones that, number one, don't pay on time. Right. That's their favorite person, that they're getting ridiculous interest rates. But their second favorite person is the one that charges a ton on the credit card, that each transaction, a lot of them are getting between 2.5% and 3%. Right. I mean, just think about that.
Let's not go on that soapbox for a while.
Yeah, this seems like a really deep rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, we get lost. Really good. Now, so just going back here again, the portable loan.
Potable.
So
everybody's going to be calling it that
guys,
now. Although you listen to this podcast,
this is why you shouldn't do a portable loan, is that they're hard to understand. Obviously, so I'm going back to this $100,000 house. You sell it for $80,000, right? You have $20,000.
Why did you sell it for only $80,000 if it was a $100,000 home?
See, this portable loan.
You better hire a new realtor.
All right. So, say you bought the house for $100 and you sell it for $120. Okay.
Okay.
So you have $20,000 in equity.
Okay.
I owe $80,000 on the house. So I've got 40 grand in equity total, right? So
Okay.
I sold it for 120 and I have 80 grand in equity.
Okay.
No, I don't.
No, you have 40 grand in equity.
I have
You
40
owe
grand.
80 grand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So where do I portable this thing to?
Oh my God.
I wish we could.
Why saying this case in point.
I think I have somewhere I have to
that
be.
it
What
gets
is it?
really complicated though when you really look at this. So would we all agree?
Can you imagine trying to explain this to let's just say this. I mean, not a first time home buyer, because if you're a first time home buyer, you wouldn't have a portable mortgage to move. But let's say somebody who hasn't bought or sold a house for 25 years, right? Can you imagine trying to explain?
Because my point is when
them?
you're moving that money to the next house, you still have to pay it off.
That's what I said. You have to pay it. They're not just going to forgive it. I said, if they are, I'm all in.
Oh,
okay,
100%.
all in.
Well, and this is why we have professionals in the financial field to sort out these numbers.
So would we all agree that 50-year mortgages, portable loans, and assumable loans are probably, although they all sound great, are probably not the most efficient things that we can do as a country?
They're good billboard material.
They're good podcast material. I mean, what were we talking about today?
Yeah, right.
But once we, obviously once you get below the surface, there needs to be some things straightened out.
So in conclusion, though, I really think we've got the 50-year mortgage understanding down pretty well in the assumable loan. I'm not sure we have the portable loan thing down.
The portable, potable, we do not have that figured out.
Agree. But this is an interesting topic, which you're going to hear in the news quite a bit here over the next couple of months. So.
These are hot buttons.
Can I get a 50-year mortgage, please? I'm like, oh, goodness gracious.
Have you ever had anybody call you and ask you that yet, if they're doing that?
No, but I mean, why not? If it's in the news, someone's going to learn about it.
I've had people ask me what I think about it, but
it's not literally something that's available now, right? Okay,
no.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Do you really think it will become available?
I really don't.
You never know.
Boy,
I'm at the point where I must never say never with all this stuff. I mean,
never say never is probably.
Isn't that a song?
Well,
never say never.
Really, if you kind of think about it, though,
not the song I was thinking of, PT.
The
Justin Bieber
50-year mortgage is probably more likely than the rest of this. Just that it's another way for these banks and for the government to earn interest.
Hey,
but I don't think any of them will probably.
Hey, think about payday loans,
really
right? I mean, whoever would have thought that would be legal? Okay,
well,
I mean,
it really shouldn't be. But,
no, I know, but so that's what I'm saying. So never say never with the 50-year mortgage. Just because it's not a good idea for someone financially doesn't mean that someone won't do it. And it goes back to one of the podcasts we did recently where we were talking about rent, right? About how the cost it's silly because if you rent, even if your rent's equal to what your mortgage is, you're not building equity in yourself. Right. You're not able to write off your taxes. But in this case, $100, if that's the difference in the payment, but then you're paying more in interest. I mean, I really think you'd have to get out those spreadsheets. But the other thing is it's probably the same people considering a 50-year mortgage. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you, are probably the same people that yesterday when they delivered our Christmas tree in that Ryder truck, there's four TVs in there. They're 60 or bigger. They're probably delivering them to their apartment next. I mean,
you're probably right.
Because they're getting DoorDash and all of that stuff. I mean, it's bad.
The whole thing.
And that's who the 50-year mortgage is made for.
You're probably right.
They think it sounds great.
Well, this was very interesting. And we'll hear much more about this over the next couple of months. Anything else you guys have to add?
Next year, we might have a 50-year mortgage. Who knows?
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.